Here we go, just one day before the NBA draft, and obviously we kind of know who's going to go number one. And obviously by the title of this video, you know what I'm going to be fucking talking about, and that is AJ Dybantsa. And the thing is, right, as a talent, this guy is absolutely absurd. But I just want to quickly zoom into literally just what makes him an apex scoring talent, because that is his actual superpower skill that he is bringing to the NBA. And it's going to be absolutely absurd if he can actually eventuate any sort of this ceiling that he actually brings to the league. The three reasons, I'm going to go through them really quickly as well. Again, draft is tomorrow. But if he goes to Washington, which we are anticipating him to be, that team does have relatively a decent amount of offensive skill on that roster. So it actually will be relatively fine. I know AJ works more as like an on-ball catalyst rather than, a guy that would probably work naturally next to Trae Young. We don't know how that's going to fit. The ball's going to be in his hands no matter what because they're going to prioritize his progression. But the first reason why AJ Dybantsa, to me, will be a top 3 scorer in the NBA is the fact that he is rim pressure focused solely, like to a T. And it really stems from mostly the driving dimension. But in terms of just rim pressure, like this is a key reason. And this is a question as well, like what is one of the, and I always talk about it a lot, but what is the requisite tool that every finals MVP or champion really has? When you talk about like offensive engines who have won the titles recently, who are the guys? Jalen Brunson, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic. I mean, obviously Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, that Celtics team was uniquely just stacked. But you also have guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo up there. So the reason why these guys win the title in a big reason why is because of that rim finishing dimension that they bring. They bring the easy scoring to the plate. And this is a guy that took 40% of his looks directly at the rim. And again, this guy isn't like fully jacked and built already at the college level. He relies on his agility, his instincts, his motor to get there. It's not like just a power game that he can rely on like Cam Boozer could to get his 22 a night. This is the college level guy averaging 25 a game with 40% of his looks at the rim, taking 8.5 free throws a game. This guy literally just gets to the rim at absolute will. And again, it comes from he's just got an array of tools to allow him to do that. He's got the low center of gravity as well. He likes to actually approach the game from a lower center so you can actually disembound defenders easily. He's got the agility tool bag, which is absolutely insane. And when you go through agility, it's whether you're relying on the full-blown athleticism, which he has, or you're relying on the agility that guys like Shai and Brunson and Luka bring, which is the change of pace and manipulation of angles and direction. This guy does that, but he does that with the athleticism instead of more just the IQ and anticipation side of things. This guy has some of the most absurd hops, gathers, counters, step-through moves that you are going to find from any prospect in NBA history right now. And it's because he actually just consumes so much space on any of his strides towards the rim, any of his spins towards the rim. And this is just an elite angle hunter in general. This is a guy, again, exceptional foul drawer at the same time. But this guy, in terms of just when he's attacking guys through their chest, he just has an absurd ability just to identify and have this feel for these open angles and just eventuate into them. And he's got the athleticism to do so. And it's the ferocity and aggressiveness that allows him to play through contact, but also fight for that free space, that airspace towards the rim. And that is where you kind of get this Russ and Giannis-like finisher. And that's the comparison I've made. I mean, Russell Westbrook brings the ferocity, the downhill aggression, and that low center of gravity handle. But then Giannis brings all the stride length, the agility. Again, the same ferocity, but just the length and release length. An ability to draw those fouls to do those reasons, and the absurd footwork as well. So in terms of the rim finishing, it's completely there, and it is one of the most predominant traits that I look for in terms of just indomitable scorers that can actually translate towards the playoff level, let alone the NBA level from the college to the pros now. So reason one is literally the rim finishing talent is off the charts with this guy as an isolation creator. Number 2, when you can't get to the rim, what do you need? What does Shai and Jalen Brunson and Nikola Jokic all rely on? Giannis is just insane as a rim finisher and driver and rim pressure in general. But what does Shai, Brunson, and Jokic, what do they all need to counter that? Let alone 2019 Kawhi, as a guy that could also get to the rim. What did he need to counter that? It's the over-the-top counter. And what does AJ do that with? It's less about the pull-up shooting in pick and roll and stuff, and like it's more about the post game that he brings to the game and that comfort in the mid-range section, which is again what guys you'll find with guys like SGA and Jalen Brunson. AJ has the post-fade comfort fully locked into a tee right now. From the college level, like predominantly he likes to go towards the left shoulder out of the post, but you know, in terms of a guy that pops off the floor, in terms of the elevation, obviously the release point's a bit lower than a guy like Darren Peterson's, but he does keep it relatively protected as well when he goes to that fadeaway because he launches back so far, so it's hard to contest that look without fouling him and fouling his feet. But the thing is, the dude likes the quick back down looks with the cleared side floor, and he has this terrifying spin move as well if you overplay the fade, and that athleticism as well. So he just has all these different counters out of the post as well. And when you have this other dimension, when you can't just directly get to the rim, this dude just looks already absurd as an on-ball talent. If you already have two traits that are relatively elite for his experience level, again, this guy hasn't played a lick of NBA basketball, but what we've seen in the college level is that these are two relatively established traits already. That is absurd when you're talking about a dude that is 19 fucking years old. And again, he's got the post fade, the mid-range game. We're talking about a guy that made 46.5% from the entire mid-range in general. So the touch is established and he creates the shots and he has enough driving leverage to get more airspace. It's all there for him. And in terms of like the deep twos as well, like this is a guy that made 49% of those long mid-range looks too. So the touch is absolutely magnificent considering his age and his athleticism package. And then also the aggressiveness and the ferocity that he plays with. They're just all little extra add-ons to this scoring talent. The only thing is, and this is deviating outside of scoring, is whether the late jump playmaking counters, like when he is in the post and he does get caught in air, that is the next challenge for him at the NBA level, but that delves into the playmaking. We're delving into why this guy will be a top 3 scorer, and this counter that he already has is already established, and his instincts to be able to deviate towards it are already there. And in terms of the pull-up feel as well, like people will have a jock at him for, you know, making 33% of his threes in college. And I think it's more or less like an off-ball thing where he struggles. I think he makes like 30% of his looks off the catch. That's where he delves down. But in terms of pull-up threes off the dribble, like this guy made 36% of them on the college level. So that feels there as well. So the over-the-top counter, you know, when guys maybe decide to go under the screen, like that is actually there. The touch and the comfort and the confidence is relatively there. Just give him a few more years. But in terms of that post back down section, that is really, really sexy to see so far. And then reason number 3, why this guy I think will be a top 3 scorer in the league is really just the portable frame and the skill set itself. And just the athleticism package as a raw unit. Like we're talking about obviously the portable frame and the scoring portability, it's not really a requisite anymore to reach that Apex Finals MVP level. Think about, again, guys like SGA and Jalen Brunson. These are guys recently Finals MVPs that don't bring the most portable scoring impact to the NBA. But definitely that, like Dybantsa still brings stuff that he can definitely work with to be able to eventuate this off-ball skill set. And the jump shot already has quality feel given his athleticism advantages. Like he already is a relatively established and semi-polished jump shooter. Off the catch, again, not exceptional, but the dude is 19 years old, so we'll let him feel that sort of thing out. And obviously, guys like SGA were not quality jump shooters above what AJ already is at this point in time. But the thing is with AJ is that compared to SGA and Jalen Brunson, he brings the actual like athleticism that neither of those guys brought and more of a ferocity to the game. And the athleticism is where you kind of provide value on the margins. Like the guy is a wing. He's not a guard. So he's actually expected as well not to offer the same, you know, off-ball value that like what we've seen Brunson offer, which is more of just the perimeter screening where he can actually flare out and offer value as a spot-up shooter. But AJ will bring value off the ball as more as just a terrifying athlete that becomes extremely tough to contain. And if he can weaponize his ability to literally just move off the ball and just gather his own airspace off the ball coming off screens, maybe some sort of like cross-screen action as well, maybe getting out in transition, that is where you can weaponize the athleticism on the NBA level and actually just be more of like a MJ Kobe level off-ball type of player. Just trying to set yourself up on the elbow, out of the post, on those back down looks, finding the clear side for you to work with. That is his off-ball value, and he can do that because he is a superb, agile athlete who can actually wriggle room through the paint as well and get that extra airspace away from trailing defenders. And mostly the MJ Kobe off-ball type, again, it's mostly just about initially just fighting for more catch positioning and more catch positioning comfort. So when you actually get the ball, you have more room to work with, more comfort spots for you. That is his value off the ball. And you can do that, again, with the frame. And then also the other stuff just depends on the effort and energy. Because, like, in terms of impacting the game off ball, like, you can impact the game as a scorer. Again, not just fighting for positioning, but in terms of just the corner crashes, rebounding, putback level, and then also just transition fuel, fighting for cross matches. Maybe even some seals like the Pascal Siakam fit there too. So this dude just brings really just most of the dimensions that you look for. And in terms of just becoming a top 3 scorer, yes, you like your guys being able to be really valuable off-ball guys. But in the NBA, some of the best scorers right now are just apex on-ball guys. And with AJ, he just offers an ounce more off-ball scoring value than guys like SGA and Brunson to me as a prospect. And that is why I think AJ Dybantsa will be a top 3 scorer in the NBA at one point in time. I see the translation to the playoffs. This is just a big guess because I haven't seen him in the NBA. And my opinion can completely shift and change. But the dude is built at his age right now. So I definitely believe in what he can actually do. And in terms of just as a player and talent overall, just not just the scoring, just as a player, I don't know if there's a top 5. I think there is a top 5 ceiling. I wouldn't just pinpoint say there is a top 5 ceiling. But in terms of the scoring talent, like, it is absolutely superb and indomitable. And that's why I see the top 3 value there. The impact that he will bring as a player in this league, and may not trail the same way as in, like, you know, because I'm saying he's a top 3 scorer. He might not have top 3 value and impact in the NBA, but the scoring toolkit, if he is given real reins to a franchise, that is a powerful foundation to an entire NBA system. And that's why I really hope he goes number 1 to Washington. I think that would be extremely lucky. And we'll see what happens tomorrow and what happens in Summer League. But that is my impression of AJ Dybantsa as a top 3 scorer in the NBA. And those are the 3 main reasons why.